we got some Shadour news to start to show off. So according to Pro Football Talks, his rookie jersey just hit number one in rookie jersey sales as of today. And Shedeur Sanders was at John Marshall High School earlier today, speaking to the students there. So he's definitely off to a good start here in the city of Cleveland as he gets his career off. Man, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh well. First of all, us being city kids and going to a CMSD school, for him to just get drafted and show up right in the school, that's a big deal. That's a
Absolutely.
huge deal to the kids, the community, the city. So shout out to Sanders, Shadour for doing that. That's a big deal. And what he's doing, honestly, is extremely smart. Like, you're winning over the fan base. Like that's what you're doing. You're
Absolutely.
winning over the fan base, and that's extremely smart on his part. It's going to be interesting though. Like his whole journey is going to be extremely interesting to watch. The fact that he has a number one rated jersey in the league right now, selling jersey in the league, is crazy. It's crazy, and I'm happy for him. But it's crazy. Like this is going to be. I thought you would get this fandom from Travis Hunter, so I couldn't imagine having Travis and him. But
Mhm.
Shedeur alone being a quarterback and bringing reaching the people he does, and having so many kids look up to him, having so many people either like or dislike whatever they're talking about him and looking at him and observing him. This could be something. At the end of the day, it could be something really really special for the Cleveland Browns if it works out the way I think it's going to work out.
Where do you think the coin flip? Right? Because if you look at it, it seems like there's a lot of people that kind of like, sympathize with Shador, knowing, okay, he might not have been a first round talent. Cool. Maybe we overhyped, maybe the fans of his overhyped where he should have been drafted, but to see him fall to the fifth round, I think a lot of people, look at that and say, okay, that's ridiculous. And I think by default, you have a lot of players inside the NFL. You have a lot of entertainers across the country. You just have a lot of people in general that seems to be rooting for this kid. Hell, even President Trump put out a tweet, thought it was ridiculous that he was still sitting on the draft board. And I'm not going to say it's unprecedented because we've seen athletes in the past come that has this huge persona that carries them. But by all accounts, from a lot of people that we've talked to, Shedeur Sanders is a quality young man. He's a good young man. He's a dude that's one God fearing. And whether you want to take that to the bank or not, man, it says that you got a high quality of a moral code that you live by. He's somebody that's always been talked about as a leader. He's somebody that's respected amongst his teammates. And from everything I've been told, regardless of what we see on social media, he's a dude that works hard on his craft and he likes to make rap songs. It's just funny how, most, I ain't gonna say most, but some people have this negative perception of him based on what they see on social media. But those would be the same people that tell you we shouldn't take social media serious or social media isn't real.
It's interesting because I'm not a big fan of you hating somebody or really criticizing somebody over and over again. We don't even know him. Like, you don't even know him. He hasn't had one off the field issue. He hasn't had one incident off the field. What you get is what you see on social media, like you said. So I think the tables turn because, and I don't, me personally, I don't feel bad for him, but I feel for him because he should have been in the first or second round. Whether you didn't believe he was a first round pick, great. I was on record saying they should draft him at 2. I have no problem with that. I stand on that. But he's no way he should have got past the second round. And I think that's what a lot of people are like, whoa, wait a second here. And all the thoughts and everything started coming like, what is really happening? The fifth round. And then you look at the quarterbacks and the other players selected above him. And you can say what you want about mock drafts, right? Anybody can make a mock draft. But normally, just being honest, when they rank their top 100 guys and they rank their top 150 guys, that's pretty legitimate. Like, it's pretty legitimate that, hey, you're a top 100 guy. And I think when you watch the film and when you look at Shador, he was a legit better than 144. Like, you telling me there's 143 guys better than him? I just don't understand it. So I think that's where the sympathy, that's where the coin kind of flipped, where everybody's like, you know what? I'm gonna support this kid because even if I didn't agree he was first round, he's way better than the fifth round. And like you said, he's known for being a really good kid. There's no off the field issues. Nothing happened outside the field. People love him. His teammates love him. He's a true leader, and he balled while he was on the field. Like you can't say he wasn't balling. He changed. He helped change two programs around: Jackson State, HBCU, and Colorado in back-to-back years. So it's. I'm happy things are turning around for him. But it's gonna be fun to watch his journey in Cleveland. I'm glad he landed here in the city.
Yeah, I'm glad he landed here in the city too. I mean, whether people agree with it or not, he's going to give an energy boost to the city of Cleveland. He is going to put eyes on the city of Cleveland, and Lord be damned if he actually can play some football. It's going to help the city of Cleveland because it's going to bring in money and revenue. People are going to be gravitating towards the city just to come see Shedeur Sanders. But of course, before we even get to that point, he's going to have to put in the work. And we talked about it earlier on the show. A lot has been made of him being Dion's son when it comes to the confidence and the flashiness with the APs and the cars. But people don't talk enough about him being Dion's son when it comes to the work ethic and when
Mm.
it comes to those intangibles right there that he has. And there was some video circulating on social media yesterday of him already being in Cleveland and working out already. And so by all accounts, like I said, he seems to check off all the boxes of, okay, this is somebody that you should want or would want inside your building. Will he turn out to be, a quality starting quarterback, a pro bowler or all pro or anything like that? All that is to be determined. But I just know that to have him in this room and in this city, I think it's a good thing along with his competition, Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel has not really been talked about a lot because Shedeur Sanders, he has the huge persona. But, I think going back, I ain't gonna lie, I was salty at the pick. I was pissed. You spent pick 94 on Dylan Gabriel, where in my mind, if he's a second or a third string quarterback that's not gonna play, you can spend that draft capital on a player that can get you an immediate return on investment on the football field. But looking back, if the Cleveland Browns had really did their due diligence and have done their homework, according to a couple of reports, they actually met with Dylan Gabriel around the same time that they had met with Shadour, had dinner with him as well. And so if they done their homework and they felt like, okay, if we don't draft him right here, right now, he's not going to be available. I can't really knock the Cleveland Browns for that, especially when I have said this whole process, no matter who the quarterback is, like, we got to have some blind faith and trust them and their discovery so that they hopefully got this pick right.
Do you think Shador will be treated like a fifth round pick, or will it be a fair competition between him and the rest of the quarterbacks?
I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to be treated like a normal fifth round pick
Mm.
because Shedeur Sanders is not a normal fifth round pick. This man has the highest selling rookie jersey of all rookies that was drafted in the NFL less than a week from being drafted. You look at the viewership that stayed tuned in on day 2 and day 3 of the draft. It was because of the speculation of when and where is Shedeur Sanders going to be drafted. And so because of everything that comes with him, it's hard to treat him like a normal fifth round pick. Now, Kevin Stefanski, I think him and Billy Musgrave and Tommy Reese, I think they got their work cut out because both of those rookie quarterbacks deserve a fair opportunity to compete for either a backup job or eventually a starting quarterback job. That's just the nature of the beast. How it's going to work out, who knows? But I think having a veteran quarterback in there like Joe Flacco, who's been here before and knows a little bit of the system, Joe might not need as many reps to get ready as a Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, or Shedeur Sanders might need. So, hopefully that there's enough reps to go around amongst the three of them so that we can see what we have. I think the Browns got a good problem, and you want good problems on your hand when you're in the NFL, right?
No, you want that competition. It's just a matter of, like you're saying, how do you divide and conquer the reps, right? How do you give everybody the opportunity to prove what or show what they can or cannot do? How do you give guys um, the reps in preseason? How you guys rep the reps in training camp? How do you give guys reps when it comes to everyday practice? Rookie minicamp would be easy because it'd probably just be those two quarterbacks, right? Maybe a third, but it'd probably just be Dylan and Shador. But not only do you got to give those guys reps as far as Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and Shador, but you got to get them reps with different teams, like the first team, the second team, the third team. It can't just be only third team for one guy, only second team for the other guy. And you got to see how they work with how they command the offense. There's so many little things that goes into it. So it's going to be interesting. I also think it's interesting that the quarterbacks they drafted are not the typical AFC type quarterbacks, right? They're not the big and strong type of guys. They're more of the smaller, the more of the accurate quarterback guys, right?
Mhm.
Shador's played in cold weather. I don't think Dylan's ever played in cold weather, being from where he's from, and playing where he played in college. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt, how they play, how they get after it. It's going to be interesting to see, like, even the little things, right? Like when they come out the huddle, how is he commanding the huddle? Like who's talking in meetings? Who's talking in the locker room? Who's talking in the QB room? It's going to be so interesting to see how the nuances are presented and how they go. And um, I even say this, like, you can't. I wouldn't be surprised if today Kenny Pickett is the starter. Like if you say, hey, if I had to pick a starter for week one, it'll be Kenny Pickett. But how long is he going to be there? Because we saw what Kenny Pickett can or cannot do already in the NFL. So if they feel like Dylan or Shador is not ready, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the vets start. But honestly, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Out of those four guys, out of those four guys, you look at the two vets and the two rookies. Do you keep all of them, meaning one guy's on practice squad, and you keep three on the roster, or do you like how do you think that pans out?
I don't think, and I don't see no world where the Cleveland Browns could keep 4 quarterbacks on their roster. I think it would
Even
be.
one on practice squad?
I don't even think you're gonna be able to sneak one on a practice squad. I just
Mm,
don't. I don't find that realistic. But before we get deeper into that, let me take it back a little bit because you talked about Shadur actually playing in cold weather. Dylan Gabriel came out and there's a quote out there of him talking about he has a preference to play in warmer weather climates. It sounds like he's a dude that don't want to play in the cold. Is that something that you think is gonna be held against him? Is that something that people are going to be paying attention to see, okay, like how does his body language, how is his, how does he process, how does everything for him go on that lake when you still got a couple years before that new stadium is built. What I'm saying? So how does that situation go for him there? So I think that's another aspect of his situation that'd be interesting. The Browns, they got this old cliche that say if you got more than one quarterback, you ain't got none. The Browns got five. So the Browns got five. So that's to tell you everything you need to know about the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation. And just looking at it, man, I don't know. I think they both at some point have to play to see what you have. I think, and it's weird because Shadur is such a unique case, right? Like everything around him, you could tell already is going to be a special case. And I would say Shadur more so than Dylan Gabriel, that you got to find out what you have because of the persona and everything else. And I'm just thinking in the mindset of Jimmy Haslam here. Like if I find out I got me a quarterback and I stole this young man in the fifth round, and I'm still sitting on 2 first round picks in 2026. Now, we talking about something different. And so it'll be interesting. I think they both will play at some point this season. A lot of people believe Kenny Pickett will end up being a starting quarterback. I don't. I think that's Joe Flacco's job to lose, if I'm being totally honest with you. And we'll see how it plays itself out. All I know is with Bill Musgrave, Tommy Reese, and Kevin Stefanski, y'all got y'all hands full, and y'all got to figure out, how y'all gonna split up the reps with these quarterbacks, how you all are gonna go about, figuring out who's charted where on the depth chart and who gets what reps with what players. But to further your point about they are not your typical AFC North quarterbacks, they definitely fit the mode of being guys that Kevin Stefanski feel like he can win with.
mm-hmm.
Those traditional pocket pass quarterbacks that focuses in on accuracy. Two things that they like, meaning they being Tommy Reese and Kevin Stefanski, they like guys that make good decisions. They like guys that can extend plays, and they love guys who don't turn the football over.
Mm.
Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, either one of those young men turn the football over. So
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm just so interested on the reps, man. like just being in a locker room, right, and having to see the reps. It's certain quarterbacks when you get in the training camp or any practice, right, that don't get reps at all. The only reps they get would be practice, or I wouldn't say practice squad reps. It would be scout team reps. That would be the reps the third quarterback gets. That would be the reps some second team quarterback will get, right? Because a lot of the time, your starter's getting majority of the reps because he needs the timing. He needs to be able to get the routes in and see the checks and know what defense they're going to be in and understand how to make the audible here or the timing with the handoff or the RPO, whatever it looks like, right? So it's going to be interesting, man. I think it's 3 preseason games now. Is that correct?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm very curious how they're gonna divide this up. Um, but when you look at it, I think I agree with you. I don't think Shedeur will be treated like a normal fifth round pick. I think his mindset is going to be honest with you. He needs to come off hot, like from day one. Whenever rookie minicamp starts, he has to come off on his A game, from the way he talks to people, carries himself, communicates with coaches, communicates with receivers, communicates with linemen. He got to win it from day one. He's gonna have to be on his P's and Q's, and the same thing with Dylan Gabriel. Because if I'm Dylan Gabriel, the third round pick, I got to look over my shoulder because I know the projections he had, what Shadour had, and how hungry he possibly can be. So I got to make sure I'm on my P's and Q's as well, and I'm not like getting beat in every single rep and every single play and every single time he's on the field. And I think honestly, if I think about it, I think more pressure's on Dylan than Shadour. I think Shadour is like, all right, cool. You're gonna draft me fifth round. I'm just gonna prove you wrong. But Dylan's like, I was drafted above Shadour, and he will always be compared to Shadour. And then now he has to live up to whatever the expectations are of the third round pick.